All right, good morning. We'll get started on our mats today. Let's start on our backs. You could either have the legs extended out in front of you or the soles of the feet on the mat. If you do soles of the feet on the mat, keep the feet out wide and let the knees touch in the center of the mat just to get the lower back some space. And it's also just relaxing. Close the eyes, start to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's do 2 more cleansing breaths like that together. Big breath in. Exhale slowly out of the mouth. Feeling the sense of starting over. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth, let it go. Same long breath in through the nose. Back out through the nose. Keep going on your own. Ujjayi breath. Listening to that sound and feeling the breath move all throughout the body. Noticing how you're automatically just dropping into your practice. The mind's starting to slow down. You're starting to tune in to you. Getting ready to link the mind, body, spirit all together. Reach the arms overhead. Keep the legs wherever you have them. Just stretch the arms overhead, get long. Try to make some space between the sides of the ribs because you're reaching the fingertips back so far away from the hips. Walk the feet in if the legs are extended out in front of you. If the feet are already on the mat, heel toe the feet closer together so they're hip width distance. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. And as you hug the right knee in toward the chest, start to take some circles with that right foot. Doesn't matter which direction, just go in the same direction. Starting to open up the ankle. Maybe some snap, crackle, pops that are happening there. That's fine. And then take the direction of the circles in the opposite way. Extend the right leg up. So grab onto the back of the right thigh. And you can have a bend in that right knee, especially if the leg is tight. Just point the heel up and the toes down toward the face. You can also play with where the leg is. So closer to the body is more intense, farther away from the body gives you a little bit more space. So if you're struggling, move the leg away from you. If you're not feeling anything, move the leg in closer to you. And we're just starting, so you're looking for an easy opening stretch, nothing too deep. Cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh. You can stay here for thread the needle or bring the legs in closer, reach through, grab the back of the left thigh. But you can do this without using the leg. So try to think about the outer edge of that right leg moving away from you and the left knee coming in toward the body. And once those two legs are working away from one another, you'll start to feel a deeper hip opening in the right hip, still being gentle. So you get to decide how much pressure you put with the legs to deepen the hip stretch to where you need it to be at this point early on in your practice. And you'll set the feet back down to the mat. Hug the left knee in toward the chest and start to circle the left foot. Go the other way. Extend the left leg up, hang onto the back of the left thigh. Bring the toes down toward the face so the back side of the left leg gets really long. And then you play with where you want the leg in space, the bend in the knee, listening to your body, to this leg, what it needs on this side. Left ankle, right thigh. Thread the needle on this side, which could be in a different spot. That's fine if it is. Keep that left foot flexed. Engage the legs until you find the right hip opening in the left hip. Stay there and breathe. Then set the feet back down onto the mat. Interlace the fingers back behind the head. Rest the head on the hands. And then lift the feet up so they're in line with the knees. Move the knees away from you so they're either over the hips or maybe a little bit behind the hips if you're looking for more of a challenge. Hug the belly in, look up, take an inhale. Exhale, lift the shoulder blades up and away from the mat. Inhale back. Exhale out. Inhale back. Exhale up. Careful not to bring the knees in closer to the body. Inhale back. Exhale up. One more. Inhale back. Exhale up. Stay up. Extend the left leg. Twist to the right. Back to center, knees together. Twist to the left. Extend the right leg. Back to center, slow and controlled bicycles. So as you push that opposite leg away from you, find that extension, bring the knees back together, and you switch sides. So you're not trying to touch that elbow to the opposite knee. You're trying to keep the elbows wide. So forget about that. Just keep the elbows wide. Find the twist and the upper abdomen core. Feeling the support of the core against the lower back. One more time, side to side. Back to center, reach the legs up, reach the arms up, lift the shoulder blades up and away from the mat. You're still hugging the core in and you're reaching up as high as you can, trying to get those fingertips way past the toes. It won't happen, but that's what you're reaching for. And then as you hug the belly in, see if you can lift the hips up a tiny bit without bringing the feet closer to the face. And then set the hips down, hug the knees in toward the chest, rest the head, rock side to side. You can either roll over to one side to come up to seated or grab onto the backs of the thighs and start to rock up and down the spine. Only rock up and down the spine if it feels good. If it doesn't, skip it and just come to seated using the hands to get there. And also if you have any back stuff going on, probably not a good idea to rock up and down. Just roll over to one side and then maybe do one more rock if you're doing the rocks, and you'll come up to seated and we'll come to tabletop. So shift forward onto hands and knees. Once you get to hands and knees, let's turn the hands. So fingertips typically point forward. Maybe you turn the fingertips to point out toward the sides of the mat. And if that's enough, stay there. Or you have the option to turn the hands all the way around. Trying to line up the shoulders with the heels of the hands if you do that, and spreading the fingers wide wherever you are. And we'll take some circles. So you're circling the shoulders over the wrists. You can go slow. Get comfortable with it. And then switch directions. Go the other way with your circles. Still breathing. Back to center. Turn the hands back around so the fingertips point forward. Cat cow. On the inhale, reach the heart forward, lift the tail. On the exhale, rounding the spine, chin in toward the chest. Keep going on your own, eyes open or closed. And you can add movement, you can take away movement. Take a moment to check in with yourself, seeing how you're feeling today in this moment on your mat. One more time, forward and back. Back to a neutral spine. Come on down onto the forearm. So bring the elbows down to the mat. Keep the hips right over the knees. They're going to want to go forward with you. Just start to walk the elbows forward and you'll feel a deep opening across the chest and the shoulders. Forehead can come down to the mat. Belly definitely hugs in here so you don't sway in the lower back and dip into it too much. And you're still breathing into the upper body, so shoulders, upper arms, chest, upper back. Then lift the head up, walk the elbows back so they're right underneath the shoulders. Hands are shoulder width distance apart, spread the fingers, press down as much as you can into the hands and the forearms. Reach the chest forward, hug the belly in. So the spine should feel pretty long. It shouldn't feel rounded. It should just feel neutral. Step the right toes back behind you and start to fire up that right leg. So feel the inner thigh, the outer hip, hug in toward the midline. Don't lose the pressure in the hands. Keep reaching the chest forward, hugging the core in. Can you step the left foot back without moving anything else? And you're in a forearm plank. So get as long as you can. Inner thighs, it's like you're trying to spin those up toward the sky. That'll help give you a little bit of more space in the lower back. Lower belly lifts, so it's like navel to sternum. And looking forward ahead of the hands a little bit gives you that length as you pull the heels back at the same time. And then see, as you scan the body, if there's anywhere that could be working just as hard as everything else. Sometimes there's certain muscle groups that'll start to relax, even though they should be helping. And that takes some pressure off of the other muscle groups. So we want to use everything all at the same time. Staying with our breath, deeply in through the nose, deeply back out through the nose. Start to set the hips down onto the mat, tops of the feet to the mat, coming into Sphinx Pose. So chest reaches forward, tailbone reaches back at the same time. Legs are still firm because you're pressing into the tops of the feet. You look down the bridge of the nose to keep that length in the backside of the neck. And it's like as if you try to reach the heart forward ahead of the arms. That's how much you're pushing the chest forward. Belly hugs in a little bit. Pubic bones pressing down into the mat, that helps you point the tailbone back. And start to lower down to the mat. Reach the arms back behind you so that the palms face one another. And then squeeze the hands together to keep the arms firm. Press into the tops of the feet. And as you press into the tops of the feet, make sure you're even between the big toe and the pinky toe side of the foot. Point the tailbone back, hug the belly in, reach the heart forward like you're trying to stretch it over the top of the mat. Back of the neck still stays long. Feet are firm to keep the legs firm. And slowly let that go. Make a pillow with the hands. You can either rest the forehead on top of the hands or turn the head to one side. And as you rest, let the legs go. The ankles, the outer ankles can roll out. Toes will start to point in a little bit. And we'll come into one more back bend, like the one that we just did. So tops of the feet, press down. You hug those outer ankles in, reach the arms back behind you. It's like someone's pulling the hands back behind you and you're stretching the heart forward at the same time. Keep those legs nice and firm, belly firm. Ujjayi breath. And slowly release. Make a pillow with the hands. Turn the head or rest it right on top of the hands. Let the legs go. Take another breath. Hands back down to the mat, just outside of the ribs. Come on up to tabletop. Once you get to tabletop, take child's pose. Big toes together, forehead comes down. So if you don't have any issues with the shoulders, reach the arms out in front of you. If you do, you can always bring the arms back behind you to give the shoulders a break. Or if it's just one shoulder, one arm forward, one arm back. If the arms are out in front of you, you're trying to get that opening across the chest, upper body. Crawling the hands forward helps with that. Come back up to tabletop, all fours, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Step the right toes back behind you. Spin that right heel down flat. So you want to make sure that the left toes are pointing toward the arch of the right foot. Then that left foot can kick out to the left, so out to the side a little bit as a kickstand. Left hand can stay where it is, or you can move the left hand out to the left, and that just gives you a wider base to reach the right arm up. And it gives you more space in your modified Vashisthasana side plank, so that maybe as you energize that right leg, it starts to lift up. Toes point to the side, not up. So you keep that hip bone still pointing to the side. And you can reach the right arm up and over the ear, still hugging the core in, getting as long as you can in the whole right side of the body. Right hand comes down to the mat, square off the hips, back to tabletop, all fours. Starting to come into the other side. So left toe spin back behind or step back behind you, spin that left heel down flat. Right foot comes out to the right. Right hand can also come out to the right. Left arm reaches up. And you're hugging the core in, hugging that outer right hip in, and then maybe pressing out through the left leg to lift it. Energy going out through the sole of the left foot. Reach that left arm up and over the ear. Get as long as you can from those left fingertips all the way out through the sole of the left foot. Left hand comes back down to the mat, back to tabletop. Let's take this to downward facing dog. Walk the hands forward ahead of the shoulders, tuck the toes, lift the hips. So first downward facing dog, any movement you want. So pedaling out the feet's really common. Also putting a deep bend in both knees, lifting the hips up as high as you can and hugging the belly in at the same time gives you that length in the spine that we're looking for. So you can play with that too. If that's what you chose to do, you can work towards straighter legs, but don't lose the length in the spine. So maybe you keep some of the bend in the knees if you lose that line that you just created. Lowest front ribs hug in a little bit. Neck is relaxed, so it's not holding up the head. You can even move the head around a little to feel that release. Then look forward at the hands, step the right foot up between the hands, set the back knee down, keep the hands down on the mat. You can just rest the chest on the right thigh or maybe inside of the right thigh if you want to go a little deeper. You can be on fingertips, hands down, or hands on blocks. Look down at the mat, left hand underneath the left shoulder, right hand comes up to the right thigh and open up the chest to the right. So now you're coming into a twist. Focus on the length of the spine. So get that long line all the way up through the crown of the head. Right arm reaches up. Feeling that opening on the right side chest, shoulder area. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Keep that right knee going straight forward. You can always widen the stance if you need to, if it's going out to the side. Left shoulder away from the ear. Turn the right palm to face forward. Stretch the arm over the ear, getting long. Right hand comes down to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Look forward, left foot steps up between the hands, set the back knee down. Just stay here for this low lunge, reaching the heart forward, hips go down a little bit, adjusting the hands wherever you need them to be. So that might be a little bit higher, especially to start out. And depending on how open the hips are today, or this hip is compared to the first hip. Look down at the mat, right hand underneath the right shoulder, left hand comes up to the left thigh, open the chest to the left, focus on the twist all the way up through the spine, through the crown of the head. Reach the left arm up. Back toes tuck, lift the back knee, keep pressing out through that right leg. So the right leg is firm, right thigh is lifting, right shoulder away from the ear. So you spin the bicep forward and the tricep back. Left hand comes back down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Starting to feel a little bit more open in the upper body, the hips, the legs. Bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, bring the feet up between the hands to the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Last one. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're coming all the way up to standing. Press into the feet, circle the arms out wide, all the way up to the top. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, hands come down to the mat, step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway, chaturanga, chest open. Up dog if you're ready for it, or cobra. Both are great. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Put a bend in the knees, look forward, hug the belly in, step, walk, float, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, bend the knees, step back to plank pose. Lower down on the exhale, halfway chaturanga. Inhale up, cobra or up dog. Back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. One more Surya A, back to down dog. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Keep reaching the chest forward as you step back to plank. Lower down halfway chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. So from downward facing dog, step the right foot forward, but just halfway. So right foot goes up about halfway forward, and then turn the toes to the right. So you're on the outer edge of the left foot, sole of the right foot. Lift the right arm up, press into the feet to lift the hips up. So another version of modified side plank. This one's really nice because you press into that right foot as much as you need to lift the hips and get that strength in the whole bottom side of the body, the left side. Bring the right hand back down to the mat, toes forward, right leg reaches up and back, three-legged down dog. Step the right foot through all the way up between the hands. This time, left heel spins down flat like warrior two, but keep the right hand either down outside the foot. It could be on a block at whatever height, or you can do forearm to thigh if both of those aren't working or you don't have a block. Left arm reaches straight up. We're just doing side angle pose. So right hand down, left arm up, opening up across the chest. Keeping some weight in the back leg. So sometimes when we come into this way, the left leg will get really light. See if you can root down through that left leg, open up across the chest, get long through the crown of the head, the spine. Triangle pose. So look down at the right foot, straighten the right leg. The hand can come up the shin, especially to start. If the right hand feels fine where it is, you can leave it there, but that's a pretty deep triangle to start with. So listen to your body, spread the arms out wide. Warrior two, bend that front knee, reach the arms out wide. Still driving down through the sole of the left foot, lengthening the right inner thigh straight forward, trying to get the hands in line with the shoulders. Maybe take a peek at that back hand to make sure it's where you think it is. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat any way you want, back to downward facing dog. So you have the option to take a vinyasa. You can also skip it and just hold down dog for 5 breaths. Left foot steps forward just about halfway. Make sure it's a little to the left. Turn the toes to the left. Reach the left arm up. So you press into the sole of the left foot, lift the hips, push the mat away from you, keep the spine long, and then keep that outer edge of the right side of the body really firm. Left hand comes down to the mat, toes turn forward, three-legged down dog, left leg up and back. Left foot steps all the way through, up between the hands. Spin the right heel down flat like warrior two. Left hand outside of the left foot, right arm reaches up. Still have the other options. You can come up onto the fingertips, a block, forearm to thigh. Right leg is strong. Look down at the left foot, start to straighten the left leg. Maybe you lift the left arm up, so it just rests lightly on the shin outside the calf or maybe on a block. Legs are straight. You're trying to pull that right arm up as much as you can. Left arm's reaching away from you. Warrior two, put a bend in that left knee, spread the arms out wide. Keeping that left knee going over the second and third toe. So if you look down at the left foot, you should be able to see your big toe, maybe even the second toe. If you can't, move that knee over toward the pinky toe side of the foot. Root down through the right leg. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Make your way back, downward facing dog. Start to put a bend in the knees, looking forward to the top of the mat. Feet come up between the hands. Inhale up halfway, Arda Uttanasana, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale to chair pose. Bend the knees, put the weight into the heels, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Make your way back, downward facing dog, with or without a vinyasa. Right foot steps up halfway. Turn the toes to the right. Lift the right arm up, lift the hips up, pressing into the sole of the right foot. Right hand down to the mat, toes forward, right leg up and back, three-legged down dog. Right foot steps up between the hands. Spin the left heel down flat, heel to arch or heel to heel. Right hand outside of the foot, unless you're doing a different variation, lift the left arm up, side angle pose. Look down at the right foot, straighten the right leg, triangle pose. This time, turn that left palm to face behind you, wrap the left arm behind the back. So you're coming into a half bound triangle pose. Chest is still open, belly hugs in. Look down at the right foot, put a bend in the right knee, keep the chest open, reach forward ahead of the right pinky toe, 10 to 12 inches. And then come into half bound Arda Chandrasana. So as you shift forward into the right foot, left leg reaches up and back, chest is still opening, core hugging in. Keeping the left arm behind the back if you're comfortable with that. If not, the left arm can reach up. We're going to do that anyway. Left arm reaches up. Arda Chandrasana, spread the wings, spread the legs, pressing out through both feet. Landing back in triangle pose. Bend the standing leg, reach back with the left leg, straighten the legs, left arm reaches up. Take it up to warrior two. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Stay with me. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Come back to feet hip width distance apart. So you probably need to move that right foot over to the right a little bit. Left hand down underneath the left shoulder. Right arm reaches up for a twist. Should feel pretty good after that part of the sequence. Left thigh is lifting, so you're trying not to take that left hip with you into the twist. Right hand comes down to the mat any way you want, downward facing dog. Maybe going straight there sounds really nice. Other side, left foot steps up halfway. Turn the toes to the left. Press into the sole of the left foot. Reach that left arm up. Lift the hips up as high as you can. You'll feel the whole right side of the body start to turn on, especially that core area. Left hand comes down to the mat, toes forward, left leg up and back. Left foot steps up between the hands. Right heel down flat, left hand outside the foot. Keep those other options in mind. Reach the right arm up, side angle pose, Triconasana. Look down at the left foot, straighten the left leg, Triconasana. Keep some weight in the back leg, spread the arms out wide. Remember, you can always bring that left hand up the shin. Turn the right palm to face behind you. Wrap the right arm behind the back. Look down at the left foot, bend the left knee a lot. Reach that left arm forward. I have to shift forward, lifting the back heel so I can reach that left hand way ahead of the pinky toe on the left foot. Then start to shift the weight forward to the left leg. Press out through the outer right corner of that heel of the right foot. Open up across the chest, hug the belly in. Reach that right arm up. So you can look down for stability. If you're feeling pretty good, you could look to the side or maybe even up. And that'll challenge your balance a little bit, something to play with. Look back down at the ground in front of you if you change the gaze. Reach back with that right foot, triangle pose. Take your time, walk that left hand back, reach the right arm up. Warrior two. Come up to standing, send that left knee straight forward. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Hands come down to the mat. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Separate the feet back to hip width distance. Right hand right underneath the shoulder, right in front of the right toes. Lift the left arm up. Find that twist in the spine. Get as long as you can in the spine. Left hand comes back down to the mat any way you want. Back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhaling up halfway, reach the heart forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, Utkatasana chair pose. Put the weight into the heels of the feet. Lift the chest up high. Hug that core in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat, bend the knees, stepping back to plank pose. Down dog, vinyasa, you decide. From down dog, right foot steps forward just halfway. Turn those toes out to the right. Modify Vashisthasana. Lift the hips. Press into the sole of the right foot. Right hand back down to the mat. Toes forward. Right leg up and back. Three-legged down dog. Step that right foot through, up between the hands. Left heel down flat. Heel to arch or heel to heel. Left arm reaches up. Right hand maybe outside the foot, side angle pose. Look down at the right foot, straighten the right leg, triangle pose. Right hand can walk back a little bit. You want it right underneath the shoulder, especially if it's down on the mat or a block. Turn that left palm to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back. Keep that chest open. Look down at the right foot, but don't lose the opening of the chest. Start to bend that right knee a whole lot. Reach forward with the right hand. Shift forward, half bound, Arda Chandrasana. So you open the chest, but that left big toe is pointing down toward the mat. That keeps some space in the sacrum, but you're lifting up through the outer corner of that left heel. Left arm can reach up. Maybe you play with the gaze, looking to the side or looking up. Look back down if you looked up. Coming back to triangle pose, put a bend in the right knee, stretch that left leg all the way back, and then straighten both legs, stretching that left arm up to the sky. Warrior two, take your time. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat as you come onto the ball of the back foot. Widen the stance, hip width distance, left hand underneath the left shoulder, right arm reaches up. Squeeze those outer hips in toward the midline, keeping them level. Get long through the spine as you twist. Right hand down to the mat, make your way back, downward facing dog. Left foot steps up halfway, toes to the left. Lift the left arm up, modify Vashisthasana. Hand down to the mat, toes forward, left leg up and back, three-legged down dog. Step that left foot through all the way up between the hands. Left hand outside the foot maybe. Right heel comes down flat. Right arm reaches up. Hug the belly in, open up across the chest. Looking down at the left foot, start to straighten the left leg, coming into your version of Triconasana. Turn that right palm to face behind you. Wrap the right arm behind the back. Look down at the left foot. Bend the left knee. Start to shift the weight forward as you reach the right hand forward. Half bound, half moon. Reach the right arm up. I went to a concert last night outside. It was beautiful. And the moon was half in, half out. All right. Start to bend that standing leg. Reach back with the right foot, triangle pose. Keep the legs straight once you get there. Spread the arms out wide. Keep the weight even in the legs as you take it to warrior two, bending that left knee, arms in line with the shoulders. Flip the left palm up, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Reach the left arm up, find that twist and the lengthen the spine at the same time. Try not to drop the right leg or the right hip. Left hand comes down to the mat, step back any way you want, back to downward facing dog. That was the last time through that flow. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Step the left foot back 2/3 of the way. So toes will turn out a little bit, but they are pointing pretty forward. So left toes pointing toward 11 o'clock. Square the hips, feet are on separate train tracks. So they're not on top of each other. And then as you reach the heart forward, just start to fold down over this right leg, coming into pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. So hands forward is more intense. Hands back more underneath the shoulders gives you a little bit more space. So listen to the legs, keep them firm, and then play with where you want the hands. You're pretty warm, so you're trying to find a nice stretch here without any straining or pulling. And there's a little bit of scissoring of the inner thighs because that left hip is going forward and the right hip is pulling back, and that helps you get the length in the spine that you need. So wherever your hands are, bring the left hand right underneath the left shoulder. You can have a block underneath the hand. You can come up onto the fingertips. Right hand comes to the right hip. I like putting my thumb in the hip crease. It gives me a little bit more leverage to pull the right hip back, reach the chest forward, and you'll feel that length in the spine. Open the chest to the right, stay here, or maybe you reach the right arm up, depending on how open the shoulder is. Still pressing down into both feet, both legs. Get that length in the spine as you open into the twist. Parvrita Triconasana. Right hand comes back down to the mat. Put a bend in the right knee. Step that left foot through to the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Put a bend in the knees, weight in the heels. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step the right foot back 2/3 of the way. Keep the legs straight. Start to pull that left hip back, right hip forward. Come up halfway. So maybe that means coming up onto the fingertips, reaching the heart forward. Then start to fold down over this left leg. Still pressing down into the big toe mound of that left foot. Pull the left hip back. Then play with the hands, either underneath the shoulders or maybe you start to walk them forward. Just listen to your body and let that guide you to wherever you need to go into this pose. So when you're in a room full of people, all of these are going to look totally different because we're working with different bodies that have done different things throughout its lifetime. So these verbal cues hopefully help you find that place where you're truly making space and freedom and not doing the opposite. Okay, hands underneath the shoulders. Right hand stays underneath the shoulder. You can even stay up on the fingertips or a block. A little bit of height is kind of a nice way to transition. Left hand, left hip, maybe the thumb in the hip crease. Pull that left hip back. Right hip will come forward. Reach the heart forward as much as you can, and then open the chest to the left. And there's that twist all the way up through the crown of the head. Keep the left hand where it is, or maybe the left arm reaches up. If the shoulder's open enough, you don't have to. You're already in the twist. So listen to your body here. Legs are so strong. You're scissoring those inner thighs. And as you press down into the feet, that's what gives you the length in the spine. Left hand comes back down to the mat. Put a bend in the left knee. Step that right foot forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to the mat. Step back to plank pose. One forearm at a time, forearm plank. Lengthen the body, reach the heart forward, stretch the heels back. Press into the hands and the forearms as much as you can. Lift the hips up, walk the feet in for dolphin. So you're opening up the thoracic spine. It's that part behind the chest, so the center of the back. It's a stiff, tight part of the spine. Keep pushing the mat away from you. Put some weight into the legs. And then breathe into that area as you open it. Knowing that we all feel some resistance here. Some of us are a little tighter than others, that's for sure. But this is how we start to open up and reverse any rounding that's happening in that area, which happens with age. So we have to keep doing back bends and work on our posture to keep that at bay. All right, come back to forearm plank. Lengthen the heart forward, keep the legs lifted. Now bring the hips down to the mat, tops of the feet to the mat, reach the heart forward. Tailbone goes back, legs are firm, press into the tops of the feet evenly. Belly moves away from the mat. Start to look down at the mat, tuck the toes. It's just a transition back to forearm plank. Bring the knees down to the mat. Forearms stay down to the mat. So walk the knees so that they're right underneath the hips, hug the belly in. Now start to walk the elbows forward. Forehead comes down to the mat. So we're back in puppy dog on a Hatasana. Bring the hands together and back behind the head. So most of us will probably be open for that. If we're not, just skip it. If the hands are back behind the head, start to crawl the elbows forward so you get that length in the sides of the torso. Keep hugging the belly in. This is it. You're in it. Breathe. And a nice way to open up the triceps here too. Hands come back down to the mat if they're back behind the head. Lift the head, walk the elbows in so they're underneath the shoulders, one hand at a time. Tabletop, bring the feet over to one side, come to seated, legs extended out in front of you. We'll come into a spinal twist. That was a pretty intense back bend series. So bring that right foot in, and the foot will only go so far. You need to use the hands to scoot the right foot in pretty close to that right hip. Fist between the foot and the hand is a good distance between, or the foot and the leg, sorry. Left arm wraps around the right knee, right fingertips back behind you. Sit up as tall as you can. So press evenly into the sit bones to lift up through the crown of the head. Left toes stay up. Keep opening the chest to the right. Maybe the gaze goes over the right shoulder. It's definitely going in the direction that we're twisting in. Start to bring the gaze back forward. Unwind the torso. Sole the right foot inside of the left leg. Right knee can go out to the side. And if you have any knee trauma and the knee's lifted away from the ground, it's always a good idea to put a block underneath the knee for support. It also feels good even if there's space there. Reach the arms all the way up. Center the chest with the left toes. It'll feel like you're twisting in the opposite direction. Fold over the left leg, Janu Shirshasana, head to knee pose. So rest the hands down on something. It could be the mat, the leg. Some of you might be able to reach the foot without stretching too much. So if you can touch the foot, make sure there's a little bit of a bend in the arms. Close the eyes. And start to lift the head, walk the hands in toward the body. Use the hand to bring the right knee back to center, extending the right leg. Grab the back of the left thigh, bring that left foot in. Grab the front of the shin, bring the left foot in a little bit more. Sit up tall, fists width distance between the foot and the leg. Left fingertips back behind you. Wrap the right arm around this bent knee. So you hug the knee in and the knee presses out at the same time. You press down into both sit bones. You lift up through the crown of the head. Open the chest and start to twist, bringing the gaze back behind you. Those right toes are still pointing up, even though you can't see them. Gaze slowly starts to come back forward. Keep the body as it is. Once you're looking over the right shoulder, Slowly start to unwind the torso. Use the left hand to bring the sole of the left foot inside of the right leg. Reach the arms all the way up, pressing down into both sit bones. Square the chest with the right toes. Fold over the right leg. Back to Janushrashasana, coming in on the other side. Start to lift the head up, walk the hands back in. Use the left hand to bring the left knee back to center, extending that left leg forward. Reach the arms up, fold over the legs, Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Slowly rise back up to seated and close your practice with Shavasana or a seated meditation. You decide. Find some stillness, get yourself comfortable wherever you are. So, taking some time to find the posture so that you can get rid of thinking about the body. And as we start to come into stillness, that quiet, that sense of inner peace, spending time just swimming in it. If you're in your seated meditation, keep going. If you're in Shavasana, start to find some movement in the hands and the feet. Reach the arms overhead, find a stretch. Waking up again. Walking the feet in, bending the legs. Rolling over onto your right side. Use the hands, bring yourself up. Easy cross-legged seat coming into your seated meditation. So much easier after the physical part of our practice, which is what it's meant for. It's meant for us to find stillness a little easier, for us to find comfort in it. Bring the hands together in front of you. Maintain the lift of the chest as you bow the head, taking a moment to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much.